From inside the ring to the backstage and everything beyond, you're about to get some real heat from Houston.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
This is Heated Conversations with Hall of Famer Booker T on Sports Radio 610.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Heated Conversations right here on Sports Radio 610. I'm your man, the five-time champ, Booker T. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me as well. What's going on, Bradley?
Hey, what's going on, Book? I'm excited to be back on the air. We're here live in the Toyota Center, presented by Walker, Texas Lawyer. We're here at Toyota Center. It's a big show tonight, Book. It's a big show tomorrow.
Big show tonight, big show tomorrow. Hell in a Cell going down in San Antonio, Texas. Got a few interviews I'm going to get down here today. Got Samoa Joe listed. Definitely got to talk to him about what's going on as far as, you know, just the life and time on the road in the WWE, the mental, strain that you go to, as well as the physical barriers that's put up. So I tell you, man, there's so many guys that's out here that's doing it at such a high level now. I see we got the dog coming through. What that go, my man, right now? Lord Xavier the Wise.
King Booker.
Have a seat. Have a seat here with his ex right now.
I think he's getting ready for this tournament they're about to have.
Right now he's getting ready. It's finna get real right here.
Book said he could wash anybody in fight night.
No, fight night. That's me right there. You know, fight night. I go deep. You know what I mean? Okay. You know, I'm one of the best at fight night. So I'm with. You know, my thing is this. I'm willing to put up money. You know, as far as fight night.
Money matches. Yes, money matches. Really?
I'm talking about long green ducats. You know, and I know you're the host. The creator of Up, Down, Down.
Yes,
talk to me about that, man. How big is that thing got, man?
We're at 1.6 million subscribers right
now. You just hit a world record, right?
We did. We're in Guinness World Records now.
And what is the record?
So it's celebrity with a gaming YouTube channel that has the most subscribers.
Talk to me about it, man. What was the thought process when you first put that together? You've been a gamer your whole life, or
yes,
what?
Yes, 100%. It's been like my safe place. When I don't know what to do, if I'm happy, if I'm sad, angry, whatever, I always go play video games. So I wanted to start a show on the network that was essentially like a travel channel show. So any town that we go to, I normally find these arcade bars. It's like kind of dive hole in the wall bars with a bunch of arcade machines, and they're really, really popular right now. So I wanted to travel so people knew.
Kind of like Anthony Bourdain.
100%.
Parts unknown.
Exactly what I wanted to do.
Yes.
And at the time, they weren't feeling it, and so there was a guy in the office who wanted to make a YouTube channel with one of the talent, so we just kind of merged the ideas together, and we're 3.5 years later. Now we get to go overseas doing gaming conventions, essentially doing like, spoke at NYU, their gaming conference. It's crazy. So all these opportunities have opened up since doing it.
So you like a spokesman for the video game world now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The main thing that I do when I go do talks is explain to parents now that kind of don't enjoy video games or think their kids play them too much. It's like, no, I play them a ton.
Yeah.
I use a ton of the hours of my day playing video games, and I'm still successful. I'm still able to hold my dream job. I still can have a social life. I still have friends. So like, it's okay. Make sure they're going out and playing and doing stuff, but like, video games are not the enemy.
Yeah. As far as the up, down, down, as far as it, you know, just competition based, whatnot. Give me the gist of it. Give the world a gist.
So,
you know,
it's essentially a wide spectrum of things. So we have what's called Let's Plays, and that's like, let's say a new video game comes out that's maybe one player.
Yeah.
I'll play that by myself, and it's kind of like the pulse of the channel, the heartbeat. We always have those. And then when we have tournaments, obviously, like Joe's setting up right now, we'll play fighting games, and that's kind of like the other heart of it. But there's a SmackDown versus Raw 2006 wrestling game from back in the day. There's a thing called GM mode, and you get to control the roster and make the matches. And Breeze and I are doing Raw and SmackDown right now. And so that's like our,
like the general man. You're the boss. You're the boss.
He's the boss.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, but like I said, everybody on the roster that has been on it has been very awesome, and it's a lot of guys play video games now. So it's something that, from even what you told me, like not a lot of people were doing it back in the day.
No one.
He was the trailblazer.
Right? I was back in the day. Actually, when I won the world title in WCW, everyone in WCW, you know, that win the world title, the guys would get their own locker room. Mm-hmm. And, when I won the world title, it's like, Book, you get in your own locker room. I was like, no, man, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm dressing with the boys. I say, but what you can do is get me a 55-inch TV to take on the road with me everywhere I go so I can play my PlayStation.
Perfect.
And they actually got me a 55-inch TV, and they set it up in the locker room everywhere I went, and I would play video games. But when I got to WWE, I sat down, just a little quick story. I was sitting down, I was playing some Madden one day. I had had my little PlayStation set up. I was one of the first guys to have a setup like Joe just set up here a little while ago. And I set it up, and I was playing some Madden. And I was like, man, I'm getting off into it. And D'Lo Brown, he sat down. He's like, man, you playing some Madden, man. You think I can get around in with you? I was like, heck yeah, man, come on. I'm the king of Madden. You know what I mean? No, seriously. So he sat down, and, we get kicked off and whatnot. We off into it. And then Michael Hayes walks by, and he goes, hey, you guys playing video games, huh? And I go, yeah, we playing some Madden. He goes, oh, all right. And he walks off, and D'Lo Brown looks at me, and he turns white, and he sets the controller down. He goes, man, I got to go. And he gets up and he walks away, and I go, "What just happened here?" It was a rule back in the day: no video game playing. Guys couldn't play video games. Guys had to be on their job. They had to be studying. They had to be working on their craft. The world has changed now. Where guys, I came in. You guys were having a tournament, a UFC tournament, not too long ago, and you was pretty rough. You was pretty tough at the UFC.
I was all right. I was all right. E and Jack Gallagher, actually, but they hold the crown. They're like the best. But technically, right now, our champion is Buddy Murphy, big brother on 205. So it's nice because everybody, like I said, everybody plays, and it's so different. Because my argument was always, well, if we can't have video games, you can't have books. Because that's not being on your job.
Yeah, that's distracting.
Y'all can't play rummy anymore. That's not being on your job. And no cell phones. Drop your cell phone at the door. We're all doing the same thing, except video games. We've got 2 controllers. Guys are all around. We're having a good time. We're bonding in a way we wouldn't otherwise.
Especially on the long overseas tours.
Yeah, man.
Those long overseas tours, bus rides and whatnot, needing something to do is very, very important. I used to entertain the boys back in the day, my commentary, in the back. You probably heard about that.
Yep.
But hey, man, talk to me about the New Day, man. The rise of the New Day. When the New Day first came out, so many people, including myself, I was saying, man, this is not going to work. This ain't going to work.
Well, I think because we didn't really know where it was going at first.
No one knew where it was going.
Because it was kind of like, is it going to be like, because I remember you came in, you had the glasses one time, kind of the Malcolm X vibes, and then the next time we saw you, you had the James Brown cape. You didn't really know where it was going.
Then we had the gospel choir.
The gospel choir.
What I mean?
I like how you said that, by the way.
I'm always looking for, God.
That's 100%. That's 100%.
He sang a whole hymn on the show last week. That's true.
Talk to me about the rise of the New Day.
All right. So at the time, the way that it started initially was, I think I'd been getting destroyed by Rusev in NXT, right? Then I get called up, and I'm like, okay, this is it. Then Rusev gets called up, and he's destroying me on the main roster. And I was like, what happened? I thought I was going to do something. But, okay, quick aside.
I was wondering, too, because Rusev had a lot of brothers back then. He went through all the brothers on the roster.
Oh, yeah, he did.
All of us.
All of us. Everybody.
Right. He even brought Kofi to NXT for him to run through Kofi.
Yeah.
It was like, what? Because there were out of us in developmental at the time, so pull some from the main roster and bring him down. No, we mess with them for the longest with that. We're like, hey, just remember, make sure you stay away from Rusev. He's like, no, guys, it's okay. But no, that was an interesting time. But so I debuted in WWE the same exact way that I debuted when I was in TNA.
Wow. I
just came out as Truth's random friend. So I'm just waiting for Truth's next job. When I lose this one, I'm like, hey, you got me, man? Can I roll out with you?
He's doing a lot of rapping lately.
Exactly. I got him featured on track or something.
You'd be like the Flavor Flav.
Yeah. Give me a big clock.
Yeah.
So we had a handicap match. It was me and Truth against Rusev. And before the match even started, Rusev knocks me out and then just wrestles Truth. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm sure you've been at the point where you realize you've been getting advice from all angles, and you're trying to listen to everybody and do what everyone says. But if you do this, you're going to offend this guy because he gave you this advice, so you're taking it too much. And so I was at that point that night. I've been developmental for 4 or 5 years. I've been on the roster just a few months, but I was mentally gone. And in my brain, I said, I got to do what I feel I should do rather than throwing somebody else's punches and getting knocked out. I'd rather throw my own and get knocked out, because then I feel like that's a measure of a man. If I tell them I want to do something and they let me and it doesn't work, then I get fired. I can go home and look myself in the face and say I did everything I could.
Definitely.
And so I knew I wanted to do some sort of group, because we were kind of working on it in developmental way back. So I talked to E, and then we said, well, we need a third. It's not going to be good as a tag team. So I said, maybe we should talk to Kofi. he was like, I don't know, Kofi's kind of been doing his thing. Like he's like the consummate baby face. Like he loves his stuff. And I was like, let's try, because we weren't super close with him, but I pitched him the idea, and he was like, yeah, I'd love to do something different. Let's try.
Kofi needed something different, though.
Yeah, exactly, because he's been doing well.
Yeah.
But he's just
doing the same thing since he came in. Yeah.
And so that's when we went to Vince and we explained to him, like, hey, we feel like there's a certain archetype of black wrestlers. You're either like the foreign black wrestler, the big, strong black wrestler, or the dancing black wrestler. Like, we want to try to break that and just do something else. And he's like, okay, cool. Went back and forth, cut promos and pre-tapes, brought him to Vince, did that back and forth for months. He let us start working on house shows together so we could get chemistry down. And then one day he sits us in his office and he goes, hey, I got it. You'll have a gospel choir behind you, and you'll come out clapping, making people feel good. And we were like, wait, but that's
remember we had that
just
whole
talked about
combo?
that.
Yeah. And so
About the archetype thing?
So like we brought that back up, and he's like, no, I really think it's going to work. And so I don't know if you remember this, because I didn't at the time, but he referenced something called Up With People. So it's like a traveling positivity group. They would put on shows and just try to be uplifting. From like the early 70s, I think. And so he had us watch that, and we're like, okay, we get it. But like I felt like personally, and we told him this, like in this day and age, I feel like people are gonna boo that because they don't like white meat, or excuse me, they don't like dark meat baby faces.
Yeah. You're right about that. I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. So just coming out and just, hooray, yeah, cheer for me, I'm the good guy. People, it's very cynical,
Right.
And so that's kind of what the route that he wanted us to go. We're like, okay, cool. He gave us some theme music, and we're like, it was very like old school gospel, like it's like 1920s gospel. We were like, we're not really feeling it. He's like, well, what are you looking for? And we showed him Stomp by Kirk Franklin. Yeah. We were like, this is like, if you want us to go this route, this is the vibe we have to bring. Yeah. He listened to it, loved it. Then we got our theme music down, and then we actually we debuted on Black Friday. It keeps getting better. But
like a Fido single demise.
But obviously we had the vignettes before, and I think people were kind of trying to get an idea of what it was, because it was so different from that initial promo when I came out and talked to the both of them.
Right.
And then we appeared on TV, and 95% of people were like, no, we hate this. But to the credit of what was going on, like the feel at the time, like at least they weren't silent.
Yeah. Booing is bad. I mean, booing is good.
Yeah.
Not saying anything is bad.
That's the kiss.
So definitely you had something to work with.
Yeah. And so we tried to build from there. We're like, okay, so this is what we thought was going to happen, that people weren't going to like it. It's like, now we just got to convince them to let us turn. And so it was a few months. It was a little while, but every time we came out, the boos were louder and louder. Then we started the New Day Rock stuff, and people changed that to New Day Sucks. At the time, we were working Cesaro and Tyson, and so we were overseas, and that's when it kind of blew up. And in mid-match, like they were saying New Day Sucks so bad, we all looked around, and we're like, switch, we'll be heels today? We'll be heels today? You guys babyface? And we just changed the whole match on the fly and just worked the match. And we came back from overseas, told Vince about it. He was like, I don't know. I don't think they'll ever boo Kofi. And so I went in, I think it was the next week I went in and I talked to him. I was like, hey, I strongly believe like we can do this. And I feel like if you give me a microphone 4 weeks straight, I can make them boo Kofi Kingston. And he goes, and if you don't? I said, then you got 70 dudes in NXT ready to take my spot, and I shouldn't be here.
Hey, man.
And he goes, you believe in this that much?
Yeah.
I said, 100%. And he goes, okay, well, we can try it out. And then after the third week, they booed Kofi a little bit. Vince came and gave us the head nod, and we kind of were off from there.
You know what, though, man? I think that's what you got to do. I mean, when I first got here in the WWE myself, I had, this agent telling me one thing. I had another agent telling me something else. And I had another agent telling me to do this. And one agent told me, never do the spin-a-rooney. Don't touch people on the way out. Don't look straight at the camera. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, wait, all bad advice.
Don't have personality.
Exactly. And I said, wait a minute. That's none of the stuff that got me to the dance. And I asked Vince, man, I said, Vince, can I have a meeting with you? And Vince said, yeah, come on in my office. Yeah. And I say, Vince, I got this agent telling me this one telling me that, and another one telling me this. I say, I know I'm going to get fired their way. Mm-hmm. So I say, I'd rather go out and do it my way. And if I don't put behinds in seats, just fire me. Yeah. And he goes, do your stuff. Yeah. And from that day, man, it's been a spin-a-rooney, man. It's been champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
That's what I like about Vince. So I'm sure you get this. People will ask you, what are like some Vince horror stories? And like, I don't have any.
I don't have any.
Vince is a grown man, and if you respect him as a grown man,
he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Right. Vince McMahon gave me his phone number when I first, his cell phone telephone number when I first got to the company. Yeah. I never used it. I said, if I need to talk to you, I'll call you at the office. Hey, we got Lord Xavier the Wise here with us, man. I want to thank you for coming on and giving us some time.
Yes,
get ready for this big matchup. Hell in a Cell going down tomorrow night, San Antonio, Texas. Back in a momento with more heated conversations. Welcome back to Heated Conversations right here on Sports Radio 610. Guys, this is the eve of Hell in a Cell coming to you. San Antonio, Texas, man, where everything is big. And you know this, man. Got a special guest on the line with me here. Actually, not on the line. Here
he's right
with me.
He's in person.
Right in front of me, man. Yeah. I got Samoa Joe. What's going on, Samoa?
Not too much. We hit Houston and getting ready to get down and head into Hell in a Cell.
Tell me, man, have you got any Whataburgers since you landed?
Not yet. Not yet. I usually say that's a post.
Taco Cabana?
Like keep you.
No Taco Cabana?
Oh, yeah. That's after the show to keep you awake to the next test. Yeah, I save that for then,
Joseph, man, I mean, we've done a whole, last time, I was across from you face to face in Houston, Texas. It was pay-per-view.
Yeah.
The main event.
Yeah, main event, man. I went out and got the hell beat out of me.
I think that was 10 years ago.
I was bloody. Man, was it 10 years ago?
I think so.
Wow, man.
9 or 10 years ago.
Well, it had to be because my kids are 8 years old now, and it was a couple of years before that, man. It's unbelievable, man. I mean, how fast do time fly?
Yeah, too fast, honestly. Like, way too fast. I mean, it's hard for me to think about a lot of those matches that them being like a decade ago. You know what I mean? I mean, we look so young now. It's just hard for me to really.
I still feel
you've aged so
gracefully.
great.
Look in the mirror.
But I still feel good. I mean, even though Brad just reminded me that was 10 years ago. It doesn't feel like it was 10 years ago that you and I went out and we rocked it that night, man. We went out. I mean, a lot of people don't even it's not like one of the top 5 matches up there or anything, but. Man, as far as matches go, it was one of my best matches that I ever had. And the drama of it, man, the dynamics of it, me going out and getting choked out. I loved it. You know what I mean?
In your hometown.
No, man, but I'm serious, man. I always say, winning is one thing, and I always love to go out and win, but I always love to lose even better. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? My losses had to be better than my wins. Those matches had to be, dynamic, you know what I mean? So Joseph, man, let's talk about it, man. I mean, you've come a long way. I mean, TNA, of course, now you in the WWE. I mean, everybody, every young kid's dream, is to, headline WrestleMania, be a part of that big show. What has this really been? What's this ride been? I know it's been busy, but what has this ride been like? Talk to me about that.
And I've said this a couple times before. It's like, I'd be pretty happy with the career that I had, and I had a lot of fun, and I traveled a lot of places, worked a lot of, the very best in the world, and kind of outkicked what I thought of my projections, So when I got here, I very much felt like. It was kind of like the cherry on top, man. It was being here at a time in my life where, I think I'm wise enough to handle the responsibilities put on top of me, which is, I was a very different person 10 years ago too. So it's cool, man. I really am enjoying my time here, and I think all my prior experiences help me not take things for granted. So it's a lot of fun.
Hey, man, people talk about it. I remember when I was back in the Global Wrestling Federation, making that trip to Dallas, Texas, it was fun, man, and I remember, even being in WCW, man, I had a boat when I was in WCW.
You had a boat?
Yeah.
What was the name? I have to know the name of Booker T's boat.
The Queen, actually, the Queen. and seriously. And, man, I used to take the Queen out, man, every weekend almost, man. I was like Gilligan, man, you know what I mean, at certain time. I was having so much fun. And then I got into WWE, and I wanted to take the boat out one day, and I was like, man, I'm going to go take the boat out and get it all, service stuff and whatnot, and get the new sticker put on and things and whatnot. And I looked at the sticker, and I hadn't taken my boat out in 8 years.
Ooh.
And that was like from the time I got into WWE. What has that been like, man?
It is a time.
That constant time on the road, that grind, man, that mental grind, that physical grind. Talk to me about that.
I think the biggest thing that's hard for people to reconcile is like you're going to spend 70 to 80% of your life, like how you live every day, in a hotel. You know, you're not going to be home in your living room.
Yeah.
And like it's funny. Like I hear people, man, it must be great to travel, and it is. Like traveling has its own like rewards that I wouldn't trade in for
awesome.
anything.
Yeah.
But it's a trip when you're out, that much time, and like, you start to like try to figure out ways to either make your road life more homey or you go crazy. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of realizing that you're going to spend the majority of your life away from your normal life and out here on the road.
I remember Jake the Snake had a quote in the movie that they did about him,
The Resurrection.
Yeah, and it said that you are when you sign that contract, you are obligated to wrestle every day.
Yeah.
And he told that to his daughter, and that's a true statement. You know what I mean? And that's why you got to literally put in the work, man. Put in that time, enjoy that time out there on the road. You know what I mean? And then be able to, take. Like for me, man, I've taken the boots off, man. I enjoy the fruits of the labor, man, playing golf, on a weekly basis. I can't wait till the weather clear up, man. I got to get 18 in. But I tell you, man, the road, like you say, has its rewards, man. I mean, it has its great, great memories. For me, one of my great memories with Kurt Angle, the storyline where he was stalking Charmel. I wanted to kill him. You know what I mean? And we actually had the big blow-off match on pay-per-view. And he showed me this this move in the back. It was called a spiladle. It was a wrestling move that the Olympians would use, and he said, "I want you to use this move and put it on me somewhere in the match. You know what I mean? I'll kick out of it, whatnot." And I was like, "Man, show me how to do it again." He showed me how to do it, and we went out in the match that night, and I put that move on him, and Charles Robinson counted 1, 2, 3, and we still had at least a good 8 to 10 minutes left in the match. We had just got to go home, and I was like, man, I want that. I looked at Charles Robinson, I wanted to kill him. Kurt Angle looked at Charles Robinson like he wanted to kill him, and I had to celebrate like I was really happy that day. Right now, man, you in the in a match, in a feud, a blood feud, one would say, a really, really good guy that you go way back with, a guy that you've gone down the road with. What is it like, being in a feud like that? With a guy that come on. I mean, let's just say it. You gotta say it. This is a guy that you love. This is a guy that you've broken bread with many times.
Absolutely. And AJ at times, through both of our careers, we've been tremendous support systems for one another. And but at the same time, he's a hell of a competitor, man, and he wants to go out there and he wants to do it. He wants to put on the grandest show that he possibly can.
He wants to be the best, the phenomenal one every night.
Every night, and there's never a night he doesn't want that, and it's awesome because it makes everybody around him better too. So doing this now just feels natural. I mean, if anything, like we've done this before, and people are still interested in it because every time that we do, it usually turns into something special.
Is it because I didn't mean to cut you off there, but is it because y'all are so close and y'all go back so far that's why some of the things that you're doing on TV, some of the things that you're saying, when you bring the family into it, it makes it, you feel a little more comfortable doing it because you know them so well?
Absolutely. And I think that, that played a major, role in how, personal this has gotten in a lot of people's eyes because, we have a very good understanding of each other and our families and what's going on. So, it lends to what we're doing, and it absolutely helps.
And, normally when you are the best of friends, man, it makes the best matches. You know what I mean?
Hit a little harder.
Oh, I mean,
it's the most unusual thing in the world, but it's the truth, man. You get in there with guys that you've been consistently working with over your career, and they will beat the hell out of you, but you're going to get the best contest out of it because I think you just both care, and you both care about each other, and you want to go out there and put on the best showing, and it usually comes through a lot of times.
That's the only way it is, man. Like you say, every one of my matches, working with Christian, man, I love working with Christian, man, because it was always going to be fun. It was going to be always heavy hitting as well. Work with Kurt Angle, you know what I mean? Kurt was a guy who, if you did not work up to a certain level, man, he would run you in the ground. He would make you look bad that night. And for me, I could not wait to get in the ring with Kurt Angle because I wanted to test myself. I wanted to see how good I really was. What's the ultimate goal for Samoa Joe as far as the wrestling business go? For me, it was going into the Hall of Fame, man, and getting the accolades from the fans, as well as me having a chance to say, man, I appreciate you guys for this ride, man. If it wasn't for you guys, man, it truly wouldn't be no Booker T. That for me was the ultimate thrill ride. What's going to be the ultimate thrill ride for Samoa Joe?
I think it's a pretty close version of what you said, because I mean the accolades and being in the Hall of Fame and everything that comes with your career and the championships and all that stuff. I mean those are tremendous things to have. But what always gets me is when I hear cats still talk about Jimmy Snuka coming off the cage in Madison Square Garden. When I get people who talk about these moments and these indelible, Shawn Michaels putting Janae through the window, and they speak of it with such like reverence and fondness. And if at some point down the line, man, 20 years from now, there's people saying, man, when Samoa Joe did this or Samoa Joe did that, and they're catching feelings over it, then that for me is my biggest accomplishment.
Hey, man, I say it all the time. I go places now, and kids, they bring up stuff, and I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? They talk about
we forget,
You know what? That's the beauty of it, though. I always tell, people talk to me and say, hey, Book, you remember this match? Or you remember that match? And I go, man, I don't remember it, man. And then they'll remind me, and then I go, oh yeah, now I remember that. The true wrestler, I mean, the one that go out there and bleed and sweat every night. They go out there and try to perform at the highest level. He cannot do it for himself. It's got to be for the fan. The memory has to be for the fan. You know what I mean? And it's all for them. And at the end of the day, they come and let you know, and you go, wow, yeah, I remember that. But it is so cool. It's so cool. And I've had that happen to me so many times, so many matches, you know what I mean, that I've had over the years that, like I say, are far gone in my mind. but for the fan, it's truly for the fan to remember. I tell you, man, you've had a hell of a career already, like you say. Even if you wouldn't have come to WWE, even if you're gonna become, world champion. Mm-hmm. That's something that's got to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's not a bucket list thing. That's just something that's got to happen, because Samoa Joe has been one of the best in the business for a very, Samoa Joe, this is how good Samoa Joe has been, and this, it's not blowing smoke up your behind or anything like that, but I'd heard of Samoa Joe before I ever saw you, before I ever laid eyes on you. The word Samoa Joe, it rang very, very loud in the wrestling business, and for you to have made it here and to finally get a chance to complete this journey, it's truly, truly awesome, man. You deserve everything you get in this business.
I appreciate that, man. And like I said, man, you've always been a big supporter of me, man. And like I said, when we worked in TNA, very, 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 very giving and very, very helpful as far as our feud. Because, like a lot of times, and you know how it is, people in your position don't have to be. And,
hey, man.
And it was really cool, man. So hey, I've always been appreciative of you. You've always gone out of your way to give us good advice. Get your money right. Hey, all my get my money right speeches are really Booker T speeches recycled.
Yeah.
I put my spin on them, but Booker's like, get your money right.
I remember when I first came into TNA, man, and I gave a speech. You know what I mean? I pulled all the guys in. I gave them a speech, and I was like, I don't know if you even remember this. And I was like, man, I know you guys got certain, perceptions of, guys coming from up north, and whatnot, guys saying that they're going to help you and whatnot, but I'm truly here to help you guys. Everybody looked at me like I was stupid. He's just like,
yeah, right, brother.
He's here to help us, man. And then we went overseas, and there was no catering.
Yeah.
And Booker T was hot.
Oh, Booker was hot about
Was this Red Bull hot, or was this more?
It was beyond.
It was beyond.
It was beyond Red Bull hot?
It was beyond Red Bull hot.
Oh, man.
And the guys saw Booker T step up to the plate. And I didn't just step up for myself. I stepped up for every one of those young guys.
You were Spartacus.
I'm serious, man. And from that day on, they go, oh, Booker T, man, this dude, he's here to help us, man. This is the guy, you know what I mean? So yourself, guys like AJ, guys like Bobby Roode, you guys were the reasons that I was in TNA. You guys were the reasons I was there. I wanted to make sure I gave you guys just a little bit of the knowledge, sitting under the learning tree, because I sat under the learning tree of so many great wrestlers that, if it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be here today. And not saying that you guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me or anything like that, but I just feel like it was my duty to actually, try to do my part at TNA, even though, the ship kind of like sank a little bit. But no, Joe, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Heated conversation. I know you got to get ready. You got a big matchup tonight. Getting ready for Hell in a Cell tomorrow. You got a big matchup tomorrow night. And again, man, good luck and congrats on everything you get in the future, bro. Booyah, baby. Hey, guys, this Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 16. Stick around. We got a whole lot more for you.
Well, Book, while we're here live at the Toyota Center at a SmackDown taping, we got to take a second from the show to talk about the veterans. We talk about the veterans every single week on this show, but the one thing that we really haven't touched on, aside from their tremendous sacrifice for this country, is what it takes for them to come back into a regular civilian life.
We talk a whole lot, but as Americans, that's something that we don't talk enough about, Brad.
No, absolutely. But we want to let y'all know that confidential support is available for veterans and their family members by dialing 1-800-273-8255 and pressing 1. Or you can go online and use the chat function there at veteranscrisisline.net or text 838-255.
Hey, confidential support is available also 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for veterans and their family members. Veteran Crisis Line is available to all veterans, even those not enrolled in the VA healthcare.
So go to veterancrisisline.net to learn more about recognizing the signs of crisis, warning signs of suicide, and how to respond to a veteran loved one in crisis.
Welcome back to Heated Conversations, y'all. Coming to you from the Toyota Center. We're on the eve of Hell in a Cell, coming to you live from San Antonio, Texas. And who just walked in the building?
Who was it, Buck?
None other than one half of the Dudley Boyz. Brother D-Von.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Man, how is retirement treating you, dog?
You know what?
Wait a minute. Are you retired?
Well,
that's the question.
That's what I was just going to say. Kind of forced into retirement, so to a certain degree, but since I've been, not in the ring and letting the body heal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel that when you're out of the ring and you don't wrestle or take on those bumps, your body hurts even more.
They retired. You didn't retire. They retired you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Bubba decided that he wanted to go his separate ways and do what he did.
Yeah.
We had a chance to do another year, but you know
what, man, it ain't nothing left in another year. Well, I mean, come on, another title run. I mean, come on, what's up on that? I mean, it's so much. You guys have done everything you've pretty much wanted to do in this business. You've become tag team champions all over. I'm talking about New Japan. I'm talking about TNA. I'm talking about Hustle.
That was the money.
I mean, WWE. I had to throw Hustle in there, man. We always talk about that. Yeah. But nah, man, you guys did it all, man. But
Book, that wasn't even the thing. The thing about it was great coming back after being gone for 10 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I wanted to do was I just wanted to get that one more year. I wanted to be able to work with the younger talent, not to relive the Attitude Era again, not to, get still my 15 minutes of fame, but just go out there and have a little fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I want, that's what I miss the most about, going out, not on my terms, but being able to just go out there and have fun with younger talent, because these are guys that watched us.
Hey, man,
and now all of a sudden, they're coming in and doing their thing.
I talk about Daniel Bryan. He just walked in the door. No, but I talk about it all the time. Me and Brad, we was talking about it. I got a chance to wrestle, Ric Flair as well as AJ Styles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Going from one total different era all the way to, through another generation, all the way to another one. You know what I mean? So definitely I know what it feels like to, want to get out there and experience that, see it up close and personal. So to get a chance to do that, one should do that. But now you're playing a different role. You're behind the scenes now. You're a guy that's now, helping, young talent, from a different perspective. You're actually watching them each and every night go out there and perform. And then when they come back through the curtain, you say, let's not do that this time. Let's go out there and do it this way. What is it like mentoring the new generation of the young crop of talent that's coming up?
The great thing about this new locker room is that they're a great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they are eager to learn. A lot of them come up to me and some of the other guys that have been here during the Attitude Era that still stick around and ask questions. I think that's one of the most important things, to still ask questions. Even though you're on top and even though you're doing your thing, you still want to learn and you're eager to learn. And I think that's the difference between some generations that just don't get it, that come through these doors, as opposed to the new generation that's here now.
I sit down and I had a conversation with Bray Wyatt one day in catering, and we must have talked like 30, 40 minutes, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, Book, man, no one's never talked to me like this, you know what I mean? So it made me feel good, to be able to, drop knowledge on the young man that's, got such a hell of a future in front of him, man. Talk to me about the difference between, being in the ring and having to work that side and working from a producer's side. What's the difference?
Yeah, I was almost going to say, are you more anxious, like when it's a match that you've produced rather than a match that you're in?
Yeah.
Well, I think at some point, you do get a little anxious because there's some times where, and Book can attest to this, they tell you to do something and you go out there and you just do it because you've been doing it for so long that you could do it in your sleep. But when you got some of the new guys that come up that don't really understand it really well, so now when you tell them and give Vince's vision, they go out there to do it. Sometimes they might not get it as well, and you're sitting back there and you're like, oh man, no, don't. So you're going through those motions, and then, but when they come back, they ask you, how'd you like it? What'd you think? And you tell them. And when you tell them, they're very receptive to everything that you say. And with that being said, it makes it a lot easier to be that producer as opposed to guys who think they know everything and they just don't want to hear what you got to say, and they brush you off, and it goes in one ear and goes out the other. This generation that's in this locker room now, I have not had any problems whatsoever. They've been very receptive to me. They've been very open. A guy like Finn Balor, who I wouldn't even remotely, this, do his style of wrestling.
Yeah.
But there has been numerous occasions where Finn has come up to me and asked me, hey, what did you think? If you have any critique, D-Von, please tell me. And I'm like, listen, you've done things that I can only imagine or dream of doing in that ring. Because like I always said, each generation, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, each generation gets, stronger and faster. And this generation right here, they hit harder. Now, either I'm getting too old and I can feel it now, or these boys really do hit hard. So,
They're definitely more, there's more of an athleticness to the style today, right?
Right now, like D-Von said, these guys doing things that we can only dream of doing back in the day. They've taken it to another level. Not only the guys, but the women. Yes. Talk to me about the Evolution pay-per-view that's coming. How far have women wrestling come today to now have their own pay-per-view, their own signature pay-per-view, Evolution? Women wrestling right now, I don't think it have ever been as hot as it is right now. What's your thought on it?
Well, I remember I was just talking to somebody not too long, a couple of days ago, and I said, I'm not taking anything away from the Attitude Era women. I'm not taking anything away from the Hogan and Andre, era of women, Rock and Robin, Judy Martin,
Sherry Martel,
Jackie Moore, freaking
Ivory,
Alundra Blaze,
London Blaze, all of them. These women, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about TNA, they used to call it. Now, these women are being taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit and they go in there and they wrestle just as hard as the men. Where have you ever gotten to where the women actually close out and become the main event on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, or hell, even a pay-per-view, where you had Sasha and Charlotte close out a pay-per-view in a cage, for that matter. You've never seen that before. These women are eager to take it to the next level, and that's the one thing that I've always said, that I'm not taking anything away from our generation of women, but these women are hungry, they are ready, and they just go at it and do it. So I'm very proud of each and every one of them for taking it to the next level. It's no different than our generation when we took it from where the Hogan and Andre and from where
we did take it. We took it.
Get your credit in there, Book.
But they're doing the same thing. They're taking it to heights that that the women before them could even imagine.
Yeah.
So kudos to those women that going out there and doing their thing. And something, the next generation, even after them, will probably take it even further than that.
Yeah. I make a case these days. Who has the better roster? Not SmackDown or Raw, but the women are the men.
Yeah.
That right there. I think in the years to come, I think we're gonna have so many more female superstars that's gonna, right now we got a crop down in NXT getting ready to make their way up, but over the years we're gonna have. Just like I look at Ember Moon, one of my pupils that's now making huge strides here in the WWE. We're gonna have so many more of those. One girl just did my wrestling show just last month. What was her name? Russell Angela.
Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
She's the independent wrestler, and I cannot wait to see the Thunder Rosas of the world get a chance to make it on this level. And there's so much room for more. We're talking about the women having tag team wrestling now. So I see so much happening for the women, and I'm so proud just to be a part of it and still be here associated with the brand. Man, this is an awesome thing.
Yeah, like I said, it's a privilege and honor to be able to still be, relevant in the business and to help out and to give back, because the business was so good to me and my family. Where, put food on the table and the roof over our head. And, for that, number one, I thank God, that's one. And two, the great WWE fans for, accepting us. The Dudley Boyz were known as a joke. We were never supposed to be.
You guys were no joke, man.
Yeah, exactly. We were never supposed to be that. It was guys and from different mothers, Big Daddy Dudley went and sold his royals.
So what was the
everywhere.
difference maker when y'all got here? Like, what was the difference maker that was like, no, we're not a joke. This is like we are here.
Well, it was back in ECW. I think when Bubba and I started feuding with each other. Before I came, Bubba was a stuttering guy. You hit him in the back of the head, and he would, but say his name. But then when I came in, it was like D-Von from the south side of Dudleyville who didn't like it, who thought, we should be taken seriously. And that was the whole thing. And once I came in and it was like I changed the face of the attitude of the Dudleys and how they were supposed to be. Bubba and I had memorable matches in ECW where we literally, and I mean beat the hell out of each other. I mean, grant you, there's a point where people say you're too stiff and don't hurt me and this and that. Well, we went out there and we didn't care. We apologized in the back and then went back and had a great match and beat the hell out of each other.
Right.
Whether it was a steel chair, whether it was thumbtacks, dropped on the table and set on fire. We did it. Cane shots, you name it. We did everything. And the thing about it is, we didn't hold back.
Right.
We literally just beat the hell out of each other. But something, it helped get us on the map. Now, I'm not saying it was the most sane thing in the world to do, but it helped make people go, wait a minute, the Dudleys. Now, let's fast forward a little further, where now all of a sudden the Dudleys separate after the feud between us, and now all of a sudden D-Von goes on his own with Axel Rodden. He starts doing stuff, and now here comes Bubba. Bubba comes in, and now the Dudley Boyz have been reformed. Now all of a sudden the vision that D-Von had for so many years of not making the Dudley Boyz a joke, now Bubba has joined in, and then we just went on and created history after that. And then coming to the WWE, they wanted to go back into that stuttering thing. We told them no. The minute we put Mae Young through that table, it changed everything.
Yeah, I saw that clip yesterday on Twitter too.
Oh yeah.
How did it feel though to finally go? Like you came in WWE. Did you ever think that you would stand there on that stage and be put into the Hall of Fame? Was that ever a goal for you?
No, because you got to understand, back then, the Hall of Fame really wasn't as big as it was, even back when me and Book were there, because it was just starting.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it started in 96, they didn't sell out arenas the way they're doing it now.
Yeah, until the late 2000s.
No, to 2013, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
putting it out there.
Was Trump the draw for that one?
Yeah.
That's
But it was only until about 2005, 2006 was when all of a sudden they were like, wait a minute, it's the WWE Hall of Fame. I think I want to be a part of that. That was when now all of a sudden everything changed in my eyes, in my view. Well, now you want to be into the WWE Hall of Fame. before the Hall of Fame, I just wanted to be recognized as a person that, number one, came from the streets of Brooklyn. Lived in the projects. Mother had me at 16 years old. My father wasn't around. The one who I did call my father, he didn't come in until I was the age of 16, a great man. And he passed away in 2003. He was a reverend, which is where the Reverend D-Von character came from. But, it was one of those things where I came from nothing, had nothing, and grow up in the projects and scrounge and do what I had to do. Now, all of a sudden, made it to the stage where nobody thought that I would be able to make it. Amen. Everybody laughed. Everybody thought it was a joke. Everybody thought it was a dream that would never happen. It was like somebody trying to be president, like an African-American being president. That would never happen. Well, Obama changed that.
Right.
And it got to the point where myself and Booker, Ron Simmons, JYD, we all came in and came from where we came from, but yet we made it and did it. And like I said in my speech, we moved on up like the Jeffersons.
Hey, man, I know you got to get to work, but before I let you go, you was talking about family a second ago, man. Your boys, your twin boys, man.
Yes.
When are they going to be making their way into the business, man? I know they jumping. A word I don't use very often.
Chomping at the bit.
To try to get in the business, man.
Yeah, they are.
Talk to me, man. When are we going to see them?
Well, Terrence and Terrell, they're known as TNT now on the circuits, and they're doing the independent reel. So they will be making their way down very, very soon.
Awesome.
They've been going since 2013, and it was my job to have them down at Team 3D Academy and to teach them the proper way. Even though they started learning and moving, we wanted to make sure that they were ready to go. And right now, we still want to make sure. So even though I'm in the role as a producer and I'm working what they say the office, I still don't
company
want
man.
Right, a company man.
Yeah.
I'm still.
That's what Ahmed Johnson called me. Company man.
Company man.
Yeah.
But right
can't wait
now,
to catch him on the
we want
street.
Them, that's for a lot of people out here. But now what we want to do, what I want to do with them is that let them go a little bit further. Like we're talking about Japan, we're talking about Australia, we're talking about England.
Yeah, get that experience, that international experience.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they've been doing great on the Indies in the U.S., but now I want to push them even further. So I would say look for Terrence and Terrell to come in about another year.
2019, 2020. 2020.
2020 has a good ring to it.
Right there in NXT.
It sounds real good. Hey, man, I appreciate you for coming on, giving us some time.
Thank you, Book.
Brother D-Von, man, give him some love, man. Show him a whole lot of love for coming on with us, man.
My
we
brother,
appreciate
testify.
Hey, y'all, stick around. More Heated Conversation for you. Back in a minute.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of Heated Conversations on Sports Radio 610, brought to you by Walker, Texas Lawyer. Hey, we're going to be back later on this week with a very special edition of Heated Conversations only for you, radio.com and podcast subscribers. So make sure you're subscribed on radio.com or on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from, because later on this week we will have an exclusive one-on-one long-form interview, Booker T and Daniel Bryan, a special edition of Heated Conversations with the yes man himself, D. Bryan, as Booker calls him. But hey, that's going to be all for us this week. Make sure you follow us on all social media at Brad Gilmore. Follow the King, Booker T, at Booker T5X. Shout out to Eddie Ed and Brandon on the boards. This is Heated Conversations, and we out.